Good. Good. Part of education. Start with allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now adjourn into closed session for the purpose of discussion of the character, professional competence, or physical and mental health of an individual, personnel strategy session to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation, and the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. We have to take a roll call.
Yeah, first and second, motion and second, and then roll call.
I make a motion to go into close for the reasons as stated.
Susan Goldberg.
We have
Sorry, second. Oh, second. Okay. I, Meredith.
yeah.
Kathleen Britton.
And Eileen Gallagher.
Yes.
And then I, yep. And she
Yep,
is-
Eileen Gallagher.
Yes,
Awesome.
okay.
we could see the exterior of Dragon Freedom quite clear.
Continue with our meeting for the work session and, and we will start with our budget overview from Randy.
Okay, so this is just kind of a overview of where we are with things. We're not final by any means in our budget. There's a lot of working parts. We feel like we're in a pretty good spot with an amount we can handle. First, I want to kind of go through a couple of informational items, just so the board's aware, with property tax history, and then we'll talk about salary schedule progression over the last 3 years. So this board's aware of exactly what's gone on and why we are salary wise where we're at. And then we'll talk about the budget progress. So on the first slide, you got the property tax history. So this is just informational. The top year, 2024, that's for this current fiscal year. Tax year is different than fiscal year. Our tax rate value, you can see, is $36 billion, which went down a little bit from last year, about 270 million. And then the tax rate, I put in the next column, the tax rate that the Board of Education controls is a 002106. The board approved this last year for the current fiscal year we're in, a rate of 2271, which was a 1.65 increment increase. If you remember back to when, for the new board members, back to when we had the raise in 24, it was a 3-year agreement when we negotiated that. And the intent was to raise about 5 increments in the first year, and then 2.2 increments each year after that. And so rather than increase to 2.2, we went to 1.65, we're able to manage with that. I've also got a column for your reference that if we went through truth and taxation, that's yes. This district has gone through truth and taxation the last 3 years. And then I've included the levies that were adjusted during that time. If you look clear back down to 2011, you can say there's some foreign names: tort, recreation, transportation, 10% additional. That was before they combined all those rates into what we now call the board local levy. And so they streamlined that back in 2012 in anticipation for some of the things that were going on in the legislature. So the rates on the right-hand side, the basic levy, we don't control. The legislature controls that to generate X number of dollars, whatever they budget. And then the charter school levy, we also do not control. That has to do with the number of charter school kids that are attending charter schools within our district boundaries. There's a set dollar amount we have to generate. If we generate more in a year, then next year the rate goes down because that carries over. If it's less than we were supposed to generate, then the rate goes up, obviously, to generate more the next year to make up for the shortfall. So wanted the board to be aware. You can see in the truth and taxation column, the yes and no columns, where we're at. Real easy math, 1 increment. As you look at a $36 billion value, 1 increment would generate $3.6 million. That's kind of the math as well. 1 increment on a $2 million residence would be, and I've actually got that on the next slide. A $2 million residence would be, oh, yep, that is, no, that's a different slide, sorry.
So, yeah,
Well,
Would be,
it's right there, it's at the
would be
top.
about, oh, was it on top there?
It's on
Okay,
top.
about $110, I think, overall. Yeah, I wrote it up there. So just so you know, the lingo, as we talk about increments, if we get to the point, we're not declaring today that we're doing a tax increase. We're not declaring today that we're not doing a tax increase. I think the odds, not to get people excited, I think the odds are more in our favor to not do a tax increase. I think it would push it to the next year, honestly, budget wise, because we're back in the negotiation year with salaries. We've been able to repurpose a lot of dollars the last few years, so especially with some of the changes we're going through. The rates there, you can see, the board local levy, for example, 1348 is the rate. The max is 25, so we're actually charging 53% of what we're allowed to charge. This just kind of to give you a reference, in the capital local, we're only charging an 8% of the rate we're allowed to charge. So part of that has to do with our assessed value, right, the number of students we have. So any questions on property tax? Okay, wages. So I've gone through and just done samples of certain positions, different steps to kind of give a feel to the board. As far as how the raise or the negotiated agreement in 2023 that we discussed for the 24 year, how it's affected our wages the last couple of years. So the first example is dealing with licensed individuals. So the top information you can see is lane BS base. So that's for those that have a bachelor's, they don't have a master's, on the bachelor's level. And you can see if someone started on that bachelor's level at step 15, went up to 18 over a 4-year progression. So let's say in the 23 year, they were on 15, 24, they would have gone from 48.47 to 59.45 on an hourly basis, based on a 186-day contract. That was a 22.65% change. Now, there's a lot of numbers involved in that. 16% was a raw COLA amount. There was also some ESA adjustments. There was also a step increase, right? So as you see these percentages, when we talk in terms of raises, we usually talk in terms of the COLA, and then steps are included. So the percentage you see that's higher than the COLA we gave is because of those steps overall. So the numbers in bold at the bottom is saying that over that 3-year period from 23 to 26, that teacher on those steps in the BS lane, the bachelor's lane, is gonna go from 48.47 to 69.13, an increase of 20.66, which is an increase of 42% over that time period, okay? So just trying to share that information. Got the same thing for the masters down below, 15 through 18, did the same steps. That is a $22 increase, 22.73, for a 42% increase overall in those 3 years. Again, back to the COLA, the first year we gave 16%, next year 6%, and then this year coming up is another 6% on top of that plus steps. So, and there have been ESA adjustments, educator salary adjustments as well. That's funded partially by the legislature. So, on the next slide, I went to school admin. These are all representative of different salary schedules we have. For school admin, I chose, and you can see, we have an administrative salary schedule in our district that has sections 1, 2, and 3. So you can see in the first one, lane 1D, high school assistant principal. If someone was on step 12, it's a 220-day contract, excuse me. They started on step 12, went to step 15. That raise would have gone from 71.65 to 96.63. So an increase of just shy of $25 in their hourly wage. That's again on 220. Shows the percentage change. So the overall percentage change is 34.8% during that time. So just trying to help put it in perspective. I'll go through these others really quick if there's not a lot of questions. On the next one, elementary principals, so that's in lane 2 of that example from our administrative salary schedule. Again, 220 days, goes from $74.17 to $100 with an increase of $25.86 overall in that 3-year span. And then the 34.87% raise during that 3-year span. So the next salary schedule has to do with the last column on our admin salary schedule. So this would be more, this is the high school principal. This is still on our school admin schedule. So that's 2D. So that would be from step 12 to 15. You can see the rate goes from 79.79 to 107.60. So an increase of 27.81 for an overall percentage change of 34.85 on that schedule. The district admin, the next slide. We have, that's all column B or section 3, excuse me. So on column B on that salary schedule, did an example, steps 12 through 15, which would be a district office administrator. Typically coordinators end up on that lane, for the most part, I believe, or A or B. So 220-day contract, there's also 260-day contracts on that schedule. The change on a 220-day contract was 79.63 to 107 for a $27 difference. And then for a 260-day contract, it was 67.38 to 90.86, so a $23 difference. And you can see the percentages there are identical for that change in wages during that time. Below that, we have column D on that section of the admin salary schedule, just looking at steps 1 through 4, $72 to $92, still in that 34% range overall, which is, you know, the same as all the administrators got. They did the same as the teachers as far as the 16% and whatnot, so. ESP is the next one. This is the one we get the most questions on. ESP is the next one. They were also given a 16% raise, and then we did market adjustments, created a minimum wage of $20. Overall, we had a job study going on at the same time. So for just a few examples, this schedule goes A up to R. As far as lanes are concerned, different positions, there's also a director position that's considered a classified director, not an administrator. In that case, it's on the schedule as well. So for a bus driver, for example, is on lane J, if they were, you know, between step 16 and 19 over that 3-year period, their wage would go from 26.63. This is based on full-time hours, keep that in mind. And there's a lot of drivers that don't have full-time hours. But it goes from 26.63 to 47.47, $21 difference, 78% increase. So you can see in that very first year, that includes the 60%, the market adjustment, as well as the step coming through. So that's the year that always comes up, right? We get the questions, we go back to that year and say, hey, we have this large jump. To put it in perspective, if you were an employee on a classified salary schedule that was making $100,000, your raise would be to $155,000, right? So it's going to be a significant increase for those employees. Done the same thing with head custodian. I won't go into the details there. You can see these are all in about the 78% range. Done it with admin assistant and then support, the support director as well on there. So now on the last slide, I've done a summary of just kind of where the wage, how much the wage change was, and then the percentage increase for each class. So any questions on wage data?
I mean, I know the answer, but is there anyone in the district, aside from the two of you, who is not on this schedule?
No, except I can give one person, and that's our sustainability person, who was on just a special assignment contract, not on a salary schedule.
So I mean, the reason I ask,
It's a part-time position.
yeah, because we obviously there has been a lot of interest in specific salaries. We asked for this to be put together specifically to show that the pay increases we approved to enable our staff to live somewhere near this district, to show that we appreciate them and value them, to attract them and to retain them, is the reason we saw the numbers that we see. And we see them across the district. We are happy to answer any questions on any of these. We cannot talk about specific individuals, even though those questions come up. We will not talk about specific individuals. But we have to stop targeting specific individuals for this, because this was across the board and we're proud that we did it. It was the right thing to do. And hopefully with these numbers put together and public and open, we can move some way towards getting past targeting specific individuals for their pay in this district.
That was the discussion that we discussed what we were doing to the other employers in this community that we're competing with and other school districts in the state that we were competing with. And it was the right thing to do for our employees and for this district, so. Thank you, Randy.
Okay,
Is there
thank you.
more, or is that?
There's now the budget. Now the budget, there's more. Now the budget, so again, disclaimer on the budget, anyone that's been involved in budget knows that the budget changes every single day, right? You have a snapshot in time, and tomorrow morning I'll get a call from the superintendent, it will change again, right? Which is change for the better. I give her credit, it's just change for the better. Anyway, it's just 3 slides real quick. So this information on the revenue really hasn't changed a ton. Has changed a little bit. We have adjusted the second line of Senate Bill 37. That's the bill that's taking the basic levy money that's not, that usually comes to the district, now going to the state treasurer. Then from the state treasurer, it goes to the state office, and then from the state office comes to us, right? The state office has 35 days to remit that to us once they get it. Our guess is it's gonna be a month behind, not because of the local county, the county will submit it like they normally do. By the time that process happens, though, it's probably gonna miss another cycle of payments. And so we'll still get those funds we're anticipating, but we will miss a couple of months. So if you remember last time we met, it was a $600,000 deficit. We've changed that to 200,000. But we think we'll still lose some dollars there. The other items are the same, so we have total new revenue of $700,000. The next section deals with operational requests. We've made some adjustments on that. We're not in the final position right now. I won't go into those in great detail. But we do have a few things that need to be, that are being added, from the original operation requests. We have some things that have been subtracted, but we're working with these programs to make sure they have the needs next year, the things they need to serve students. So, that's where some of the adjustments are made. The next one deals with FTEs, as probably everyone knows, there's some adjustments being made to FTEs in the school district. Let me back up a second. Medical insurance increases, we're gonna be in a very good position medical insurance wise. I won't go into details today because we've still gotta meet with the insurance committee and see what direction they wanna go, but I think they're gonna be pleased with what we found out yesterday. Okay, potential position cuts, you can see where we are so far, broken out between admin, licensed classroom, and licensed support, and then ESPs. With the number of FTEs we've been able to reduce and the dollar amounts associated, and then I've also got just for reference there, how much of that's from the district office or not assigned to the school necessarily. How much of that's from secondary schools, how much of that is from elementary schools, so you gotta get a sense for that, so. We do believe, and go to the bottom line, it's not $4 million anymore. I know our media friends, we're interested in that, as the taxpayers should be. We're down to 2.68. We believe that's still gonna be going down as we're working hard to, keep in mind, we don't officially present a budget to you until May. And so we have 2 more months, 60 more days, which, the legislature caused a lot of havoc in 60 days. So, we can do the same. We can work through that. So, again, the 3-year agreements on here, that's where we're at.
Big improvement from the last number we saw.
As a snapshot today, that's the number today. Tomorrow, that number will change.
Yeah.
As we work through some of these other processes that we're going
Going in the
through.
right direction quickly, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, so that's where we're at.
Great, thank you, Randy. Okay, next we will get our student on the board report.
All right, so next week we've got Make-A-Wish. So we're doing, our Make-A-Wish this year is gonna be Hannah. She is an 11-year-old girl with congested heart disease, and she wants to go to Disney World this year. So we're gonna try to raise money for that. We're gonna do a couple different things with that. We're gonna do on Monday, we are gonna have our assembly on Monday instead of Friday this year to try and kick it off and get the ball rolling with that. And on Monday, we're gonna do a bake sale with Crumble. Tuesday, I don't believe we're doing anything. Don't quote me on that, but I don't believe we are. Wednesday, we're doing a karaoke and trivia night. Thursday is beaded necklace, rock, and rock, paper, scissors. So that with the beaded necklaces, we're gonna buy a bunch of stuff and have people like buy the beads they wanna use to create their necklaces. And then Friday, we're doing a book sale. We've been doing a book sale throughout this week, and we're gonna continue it into next week. We're selling like a book, $1 a book, I think.
Are they donated?
Yeah. And then we're gonna do something a little different this year with a bunch of the restaurants around Park City. We're doing at a certain time, I believe 3 to 5 o'clock after school. Monday is gonna be Cafe Rio, where they give us half of their earnings through those 2 hours. It's gonna be Cafe Rio Monday, and we don't have one Tuesday. Wednesday's gonna be Chipotle, Thursday's gonna be Mod Pizza, and Friday's gonna be El Chabasco. So that will help out a lot with like boosting the amount of donations we can get. And we're just doing spirit days as well for all the students. Monday is gonna be Red Out, Tuesday is PJ Day, Wednesday is Western Wednesday, Thursday is Throwback Thursday, and Friday is Disney Day. So yeah, and then we also sent out a poll about the phone policy, just to see what the students were thinking on it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% sure these are accurate, because we're students and we don't think that there's a problem with the phones. So we asked them 4 questions. We said, do you think cell phone use during class is a problem at Park City High School? 84.6% said no. So, I mean, yeah, 9.1%, yeah.
60% think it is an issue. There's a significant number of kids who think it's an issue.
Yeah. Should there be a school-wide phone policy regarding cell phones? 81% said no. 18% said yes. And then we said, what do you think on yonder pouches? 13% that said they're all right, and 85% said they're bad.
And how many responses did you get to this?
576.
Wow.
None of them said they were good. And then we also said, do you think it'd be a good idea to have yonder pouches as a punishment? And for that, we had 52% say yes and 47% say no. So, and with student council, we went through a bunch of different ideas, and what we think is, we believe that all teachers should be given a phone pouch holder to hang on their walls, and attendance should be taken by by looking at the phones. And if your phone's not in there, like you disobey the policy, you have to put your phone in a yonder pouch as a punishment. That is what we think. And then we also had all the students give out some ideas to which teachers they think have good policies. Miss A, Mr. Marshall, Mr. Brinkerhold, Miss Ryan, Mr. Gannon, Mr. Bivens, and Mr. Gannon again, because we doubled that. I will say there are certain classes that you don't actually take your phone in. Like I'm in AP stats and I haven't taken out my phone once in my class, because if I do, I will fall behind and I will be screwed. That's the same with Miss A's class. Mr. Marshall has his own thing. I also have his class. He has you put your phone in the pocket right when you walk in, and he takes attendance on that. And if your phone's not there, you're marked absent. So yeah, that's our update on the phone policy. And then
And
there's
was
nothing
Mr.
else.
Marshall on your list of successful?
Yes, he was the second one. Mr. Marshall, he was the second one that got recommended by students.
Okay. Super.
Yeah,
Interesting, appreciate it. Thank you.
of course.
It's good feedback.
So I had an opportunity to go meet with student council, and this is one of my asks of them. The bill has passed. We do have a cell phone policy, but we are in violation of our own policy. And so I asked for them to come up with a recommendation for the new high school principal about how we can become more in alignment with our own policy. And so I appreciate you, Ken, for taking on that task and reporting out.
And like with these teachers who are on this list, they start out hard with the fact you put your phone in or you're absent or you lose points. And Miss A does something different. She does it where if you don't have your phone in the pocket, first quarter you lose 1 point, second quarter is 2, third quarter is 3, fourth quarter is 4 points. 4 points is like a good amount of your grade in that class. So you have to start out hard, and then people will listen to you once they get to the point of, if I don't have my phone in there, I lose points or I'm marked absent. So don't start out easy. Some teachers do start out easy and then they can never input a policy that they want. Yeah,
So your recommendation is go hard.
go hard at the beginning, get them to agree, and then we're good from there.
All right. Well, we appreciate you sharing that.
That's great. Thank you.
I mean, I think it's an issue that we all take,
Yeah.
have challenges with, depending on the, so, great, well, thank you. Okay, next, yeah. We have consent, we want to do consent agenda?
We have to do that.
Yeah, oh, right, correct. Okay, relevant questions. For the consent agenda, we have regular session minutes of February, retreat minutes from February 19th, closed session minutes of February 11th and February 19th, travel request, contract approval for BSN sports personnel, check registers of February, and board revenue and expenditures for February.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, the moment we've all been.
I'm gonna stand because it feels weird
Please
to
do.
sit. I think something that's unique about all of the individuals that would come before you this evening is they've all been classroom teachers in the Park City School District. Some have been students and teachers in the Park City School District.
Some or what?
Some,
Some,
yes,
yes, you're right,
there are
you're
at
right,
least
you're right.
two
Two,
who
yes.
are alumni. And one has just been a student, in our school district. So with that being said, I'm gonna ask, each person as I announce your name to come up. Tracy Fike, would you like to join us? So Tracy Fike has been in the school district since 2012. She is currently serving as the principal of Trailside Elementary School. She has turned that school around. They are currently ranked as one of the top 10 elementary schools in the state of Utah. And she will be our new CTE director. Invite, if family is here, we'd like to get, so Holland, Colby. Casey. I'll just share with the group, it is felt weird over the years as people have been promoted and stepped into new roles, they get announced and they're not here. So we're trying to change that culture, create a more welcoming environment, make this feel like a family, because Park City is a tight-knit community. Everyone knows one another, which is why families have been invited, as well as the individuals who are being recognized tonight.
And we want to celebrate that accomplishment.
Yes. Oh, take her photos during the stage. Okay. Missy Schaubert, if you want to join me. So Missy has been with the district since 2016. She's been a math teacher. She's been an assistant principal at Treasure Mountain Junior High, currently serving as the assistant principal at Ecker Hill Middle School. She interned with myself, Bob O'Connor, and Bob Emerson at the high school when we were there together as an administrative team. And she is going to step into a new role. She'll be the preschool coordinator come 25-26. I think your husband's running kids around. Jamie Weeks, will you join me? Jamie Weeks has been with us since 2005, and then I believe you left for a bit, Jamie, and then came back.
Yep.
So she has been a math teacher. She's been an assistant principal at the high school, and next year she is going to step in the role of transportation coordinator. So she is stepping in. Sneak out to a soccer game, Jamie?
I do actually, it starts at 5:30.
Okay, you are excused, thank you. Caleb, do you want to join me? Yes. Do we have kids or just Jack?
Just Jack.
Funny story about Caleb and I, we started teaching the same year at Park City High School. I had been hired as a teacher. They bring this guy into the room who looked like he was about 12 at the time. I'm kidding.
I bet you smile.
Yes. But I've known him for a long time. We've been colleagues, close friends. Caleb will step into the Park City High School principalship. of 2004 graduate from Park City High School. Is Ben in the audience? I know he may have had a conflict. Okay, Ben Mueller has been with us since 2018. He is currently serving as co-principal at Treasure Mountain Junior High School. Prior to stepping into that role, he was an assistant principal at Treasure Mountain Junior High. Prior to that, he was one of my CTE teachers. He taught computer science at Treasure, and he will be joining Caleb as an assistant principal at Park City High School. Isaiah, do you want to join us? So I was Isaiah's assistant principal, and he was the student body president. Caleb was his student council advisor. And he was and he is class of 2012. He has been with us since 2022, and he will step into the role of Ecker Hill Middle School principal. Dan Gallery. Dan, do you want to join us? And family, little ones. Dan has been with us since 2013. He served as a teacher. He served as a special ed coordinator, and currently he is overseeing our preschool program. In the fall of this school year, he will step into an assistant principal role at Ecker Hill Middle School. Jackie joined the school district in 2011. She taught at Farley's Park. She taught at Trailside. She was an instructional coach at Trailside. And then she pursued an opportunity down in Salt Lake City School District. She's been an assistant principal. Currently, she is serving as principal of Meadowlark Elementary School. And she will join us from the fall of this school year as the principal of Jeremy Ranch Elementary.
Your first one.
Sorry.
Yes. No.
Well, congratulations to all of you. We are so proud of our team here in the district, and so happy that your families could be here with you today. This is really, I'm very, very happy about this. And thank you. Lindsay has been working her tail off to make this happen. And, you know, this was no small feat to really get all the pieces in place that we need. And we have so many great teachers and administrators here in our district. And this just speaks so highly to the talent that we have here. So congratulations to all of you. I'm really delighted that you are the new administrative team.
There's something to be said for homegrown, and I'm proud to promote the very talented individuals that I've had the pleasure of working alongside in different capacities. So welcome. I'm excited for our future together. Public comment? You guys did that with the consent
Okay,
agenda.
great, great. All right, just making sure. Now, we will now, the Board of Education wants to hear input from community members at our meetings in order to respect and preserve the time allotted to each presenter on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers representing a group will have 5 minutes. Do we have?
I have not received any.
Okay. Okay, we're trying to-
Couple of Lennox friends, do we have any comments on it?
But you guys don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting? It's something we said.
We need your smooth sheets. Sign for public comment. He's writing.
Okay.
You can do the public comment and fill that out afterwards as well if you want.
Yeah.
We know.
I don't have to, I can stand. But it's Josh, and you've seen us before. There's a lot of people. Can you raise your hands? Thank you very much. Yeah, we're all here obviously to support, the athletic program. The specifics of phase 1, 2, and 3, and then the larger picture, sorry, phase 1, 2, and 4, and obviously the larger picture, phase 3 eventually. However we get there, but for the near term, obviously, we're here, to again, support the board, the superintendent, all the administrative, folks here at the Park City School District as we advance collectively, our, I wouldn't say our priority, but again, our goal of making improvement here, significant improvement to the athletic programs of Park City. In I suppose in this particular case, in a, real sense, like in a, where we can actually see things being built and improved, and that's gonna be real important, and for, not just for us, but not for us, our kids. So, anyway, that's what we're here to cheer you on for, so go do and great things. Thank you very much.
Last call. Okay, we will now move into the monthly reports. Do we have employee groups reports this month? There's
Mary's here.
I'm gonna get my new position. Thanks. Good evening, thank you for having us. Okay, first off, a huge congratulations to our 2 Park City ESP representatives, Jen Branson and Gina Cox, for being selected to attend this year's National NEA ESP Conference in Kentucky. They are on a plane about right now. Jen, who is also a preschool teacher at Poland, is the NEA ESP of the year. And Gina Cox, who is one of our bus drivers, is the president of the PCCEA. PCA has been working together with PCCEA, UEA, police officers, firefighters, teamsters, nurses, librarians, and many other union labor workers to gather signatures for a referendum to House Bill 267, which was the anti-union labor worker bill. We stand strong against this bill in order to continue to work together for better working conditions for all, better pay for all, and better resources for students. This bill makes it very difficult to accomplish those things. We value the relationships we have with the board and the district and plan to continue those discussions, but HB 267 makes that more difficult. We know in Park City, we will have the support of the district and the board moving forward regardless of this bill. But we also stand with all of our union labor workers around the state to defeat this bill. On March 8th, UEA filed a referendum. This means that we must collect 200,000 signatures around the state in only 30 days in order to get this bill on the ballot and allow the people to decide. We have been told that Utah has the most restrictive rules and laws for a referendum, more restrictive than any other state in the nation. So we ask the public for help in getting this accomplished. PCA will have opportunities around town as well as in Camas, Heber, and Salt Lake to sign the referendum. Every Monday and Thursday, Heidi Matthews has offered her home here in Park City from 6 to 8 p.m. at 6280 Snowview. PCA will also be at Smith's this Thursday and next Thursday in the parking lot from 4 to 6 p.m. In addition to Smith's, you can also sign at Walmart next Thursday, March 27th from 4 to 6 p.m. If you are in Camas, we will be at the Food Town on Saturday, March 29th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And if you are in Salt Lake, you can stop by the UEA office at 887 East Pontiac Drive, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. or on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have sent all of this information to local news media and are hoping to get the word out as much as possible. Please feel free to contact either myself or Shannon Hayes at any time, and we will get you set up if you would like to sign or if you would like to volunteer to help us gather signatures. Thank you so much for your ongoing support as we fight for the rights of all Utah workers to continue to have a collective voice. Our congratulations also to all the new administrators announced this evening. We look forward to continuing the valued relationships that we have with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that us for teaching and learning?
We're a poor replacement for Stacy Briggs.
Yeah.
We thought the big crowd was here to talk about the ELA curriculum.
It's not, everybody left. We'll catch them later. So Katie McGinn, literacy specialist, Amy Jenkins, elementary director. Stacy Briggs unfortunately was ill today, not able to present. However, what we're here to do today is share with you the recommendation from the ELA grades 4 through 8 committee. As you know, by policy, we had a diverse group of educators, parents, and community members come together starting in January of this year to start to review curricular materials for language arts in those grades. We had some great conversations, a lot of aha moments. And after the process of reviewing different curricular materials and giving time with the curriculum developers, I'll say, and our representatives from those companies, the committee came together and I would say, what, 90%? 90% responded with a recommendation to go with Great Minds. The program is called Arts and Letters. This is the same, it is the new version of the same program that we adopted for K-3. And so one of the biggest benefits that we see and that came through the committee is that continuity of how the students learn and the units of instruction that the modules that they'll go through and being able to have that continuum go up through 8th grade, which I don't think we've ever had in our system before. So we are really excited for the learning opportunities that our students will have. So what will happen after tonight's meeting by presenting this to you as the recommendation is that on the teaching and learning website, on the Park City School District's website, tomorrow it will start the period of parent input. There'll be an opportunity for parents to provide input, review the materials, and provide input digitally. And I believe on the second slide, whoever's controlling the screen, correct, there's a Zoom meeting that is scheduled with a link for March 26th so that you can engage with Stacy Briggs, the Chief Teaching and Learning Officer, and ask questions. And then input closes on April 4th. And at the next board meeting, based on that input, we would hope to move to formally adopt the curriculum. So we're excited. Questions? Any feedback?
Sounds like you guys are doing good work.
checking another box off the to-do list, and, I do think, like we said, once the educators and the parents came around and made the ahas around the connections that, that will be made between students from kindergarten all the way up through 8th grade, it was an easy decision at that point, so we're really excited for it, so. And we've already got half of the staff in those elementary schools trained, so it'll be an easy lift too, a lot of collaboration, so we're excited. Perfect, that's all we have.
Thank you, guys.
Not quite as exciting as the administrative.
Yeah.
We'll ride on.
All right.
We'll move into my monthly reports. That picture there is Nick, Meredith and I, we got to spend a lovely Saturday down in Spanish Fort with a superintendent and board leadership training. Learned a lot from other superintendents as well as board presidents and vice presidents and how they're functioning and onboarding new board members, onboarding new superintendents. So it was worthwhile for us to spend the Saturday down there. As always, centering on our mission and vision, inspiring, supporting all students equitably to achieve their academic and social potential. All of our students are safe, supported, engaged, challenged, and healthy. March is middle level education month, and I think it's important that we take time to celebrate the vital role that Ecker Hill, as well as the 8th grade at Treasure Mountain plays in our students' lives. These years are all about growth and discovery, where students are really shaping their identities and building their skill set. So I just want to shout out to middle school teachers, staff, principals, assistant principals, that are really putting that work at the forefront with our students in grades 6 through 8. You'll also see that we are holding a ribbon cutting next Thursday, March 27th at 4:30 to show off the 2 new wings at Ecker Hill. If you have not had the opportunity to walk through those wings, hopefully you can make it to that event. It is at 4:30 next Thursday at Ecker Hill Middle School. Phenomenal spaces, very bright, open, flexible. We are very intentional about ensuring that all of the fixed furniture was along the exterior, so teachers could configure their rooms in all different shapes and sizes to really promote student collaboration and voice and choice in their classroom. That picture below Ecker Hill is our roads realignment. We had a group of individuals come from the Utah State Board of Education. We are the recipients of one of the personalized and competency-based learning grants here in Park City School District. So they wanted to come and see what we are doing. And that visual is sort of how we speak to what's happening with realignment. Our North Star is the Park City School District Portrait of a Graduate. The way in which we reach that North Star is the vehicle, which is our professional learning communities. That is where our teachers collaborate and talk about content, skill set, knowledge, and dispositions. And then the roadway is personalized competency-based learning. That is how we will get to that North Star. So feedback we got from USBE, they were impressed with everything we were doing, and really want to showcase the talent and the work that's happening in our classrooms and bring other school districts to visit us. So kudos to Ecker Hill and their staff, as well as Park City High School. Those are the 2 schools that we visited, along with a couple teachers at Treasure Mountain. So many celebrations this month. Top left corner is our Sterling Scholar group. They competed last week. We had several first place finishes. Next to that is Educators Rising. That is a career and technical student organization. So those students in the picture with the blue balloons, they aspire to be educators someday. So they get to compete in different categories. And we did have a couple of students place. Next to them is our debate team. They are repeat state champions, 2nd year in a row. So we've challenged Anna Williams and team to bring us home a three-peat next year.
My God.
Yes. Next to that is our Ecker Hill Middle School.
I think this is there.
Let's see. Yeah, Treasure's at the top, Ecker's at the bottom. So Ecker Hill Middle School 7th grade band, they earned straight superior ratings. That's the highest possible score. Shout out to Zach Giddings and team. Out of 33 bands across the state, they were the only, Edgar Hill's only 7 to achieve straight superior ratings with no minuses. So very impressive, huge accomplishment for that group. Bottom left is our robotics team. We had an all-rookie female captain team qualify for nationals that'll be held in Houston. Next to that, with the globe, that is our civics B champion. That was at Treasure Mountain. And shout out to Casey Ryan and Brett Brinkerhoff for preparing those students. Next to that is our spelling bee. And then next to that is Edgar Hill with Treasure Mountain being above. So lots of academic success, extracurricular success. We love celebrating our students and the teachers that support them. Excellent personnel. We had 3 teachers recertify as national board, which is the highest achievement you can achieve in terms of education. There are approximately 140 national certified board teachers. 14 of those are here in Park City, so we represent 10% across the state, which is significant for a school district of our size. That's Joanna Hamill with her mom pictured in the middle, and she is an interventionist at McCullen Elementary School. Celebrating more excellent personnel, Roger Arbabi, I believe he had to leave and go attend extracurriculars, but he has been with us for 7 years, serving as Park City High School principal. He has announced he will be retiring at the end of this year, along with Sean Keenan, who has been with us since 2008. He has served as assistant principal at Treasure Mountain Middle School when it was a middle school, then Treasure Mountain Junior High. And he's currently serving as the principal of Jeremy Ranch Elementary School. Bob Edmondson, pictured far right. He's been with us for 18 years. He has served as a principal at McCullen Elementary, assistant principal at Park City High School, and currently serving as the associate principal at Park City High School. So just want to recognize their contributions to the district. We would not be where we are today without their partnership and leadership at the different school sites that they've been a part of. On Friday, we were able to hold a professional development day for all of our teachers. Students were out of the building, hopefully enjoying some time on the slopes. We did get a bit of snow that morning and overnight. And we brought in Adam Gary. He is an expert on AI in education. Myself, along with a couple other colleagues, had the opportunity to see him back in the fall. And we thought, what a great opportunity to bring someone who travels the nation and into Canada talking about AI, because it's here. It's not going anywhere, and we need to embrace it. So teachers were blown away by the things that they saw and could take back and implement in their classroom, as well as a bit scared. AI can be scary. He showed Notebook LM, which those of you who have played a little bit with AI, and it took our strategic plan and turned it into a podcast. And then he was able to call into the podcast live and ask about AI and how we could embed AI into our strategic plan. And you could just see teachers' minds being blown in the moment. So it was a highly successful day. I spent some time with some teachers and principals this morning and just asked for feedback. And everyone gave the keynote an 8, 9, 10 rating out of 10. They were very impressed and felt like it was relevant and they could take something away. After the keynote, there were different sessions teachers could go to. They were led by their colleagues as well as other experts from USBE and Adam himself. So overall, highly successful day. I think most of our teachers walked away with something they could take back to their classroom. Different outreach and community partnerships. Peace House has a prevention education specialist, and they came in and delivered a lesson on healthy relationships and digital safety to our 6th graders at Edgar Hill. In the middle, you see Tracy Fike delivering We All Belong Kindness Awards at Trailside. And we're just grateful for the partnership that we have with the Park City Community Foundation as well as Park City Ed Foundation to continue to ensure that all of our students feel like there's a place for them inside of the school building. Read Across America See Meredith there, board president, getting to read
I was
to,
there as a Rotarian.
getting to read to some students at McPolin. Very fun day. They give all the students a book, and it's just a great way to interact with our young students as well as read to them. Social Worker Week, we celebrated our social workers a couple of weeks ago. We were very fortunate here in the Park City School District to have social workers available to our students. And our LIAs at Ecker Hill Middle School, they were able to interact with some of our Utah State Board of Education members who came to visit and just highlight some of their work that they get to do with their advisor. I won't go into all the website, social media, newsletter, but what I do want to highlight is in the top right, we have added a feedback form on the district website. We want to communicate and take feedback. There are always opportunities for us to improve and grow. So anyone, whether it's an employee, a parent, a community partner, they can click that feedback form and give us feedback. And someone will respond to that feedback. It will go to our FACE team and then they'll redirect it to the appropriate individual. So that is new. It went live last week. That was something we took away from that training that Meredith and Nick and I attended. Alpine has had this for a while and said it's a great way. One of their board members said, just put it out there, allow your community to give you feedback so you can grow and learn and continue to have that open dialogue. Community Alliances, Park City Education Foundation hosted an event a couple weeks ago known as Ideas for Impact. It's by educators for educators. So educators are able to submit, to present and highlight some of the work that they're doing in their classroom. So you see Mike Burton, he's one of our early pioneers when it comes to AI. He presented on all the things that he's been doing as a teacher with AI at Trailside. Tara Bacon is a special educator at the high school. She spoke to, career opportunities for her students. Bottom left is Maggie Reardon. She's our Jeremy Ranch STEM teacher. She showcased some of the different projects she's doing in her STEM classroom at Jeremy Ranch. And then you have our Seed League, Sam Thompson, AKA Ricky Bobby, interacting there with Ingrid, who leads the Park City Education Foundation. So it was a great opportunity for teachers to come together, socialize. It's not very often that we get K-12 educators in the same room and they can collaborate and see their peers. We closed the evening with a fireside chat. Caleb was the facilitator and just asked a couple questions of me as a way for staff to get to know me a little more on a personal level and talk about my vision moving forward. And final thoughts are just AI, and this is what I shared with our staff on Friday at the conclusion of that keynote. It's not here to take our jobs, maybe automate some of the boring parts and increase efficiencies. It can personalize learning. It can lighten our workloads and boost accessibility, but what it absolutely cannot do is replace the relationships and human connections that our teachers build with kids each and every day. Because I do believe there are some angst amongst our teachers about, is this going to take away my job? No, it can never take away your job. It's just going to enhance education, allow you to build richer relationships with your kids. That's my report for this month.
Randy.
Yes, I think if it's okay with you, President, I think we're gonna go to the decision making with MHTN.
Oh, yeah.
And JD Simmons is here as well from MOCA, Scott Lader's here,
Okay.
dealing with the master athletic plan, so that they don't have to wait after, and then I can get the fees.
I want to talk about school fees.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it.
So I will tell you, the team has been meeting every other week right now, the group, all those that are involved. Along with representatives from the school district, the high school, Caleb's involved, Jamie Sheets is involved, going through these plans that Scott's gonna share today.
Sure.
And just some of the questions that have come up, looking long range, just, we've got a couple different designs for you to look at. this evening. I mean, turf is turf, right? It doesn't change much unless you wanna make it blue or a different color, which we don't, but, anyway, we'll let Scott have at it.
Sure.
Where we're at.
Yeah, I appreciate the time for those that don't know me, and I welcome to those that do. My name is Scott Lair with MHT Architects. We've been helping the district for a number of years, going back to some of the master plans we did in 2020 and 2021. Super excited about the work that's happening currently for the athletic master plan. What you're seeing on the screen is some of our guiding principles and goals. And very much like the superintendent, we always like to start with that as we set the table for conversations. About being, student focused and community centered. And you're gonna see the ideas presented, really gravitate towards those ideas. So just as a way of setting the table, as the board approved a couple months ago, we are moving forward with the athletic improvements, not only to Dozier Field, but also to the Treasure Mountain site. And so on the left-hand side, we'll talk about some of the improvements and really the decision point we'd like a little bit of feedback today is primarily focused on Dozier. Treasure has not changed too much from what you saw in the original master plan, which is good, and then we had a good plan in place. Specific to the Treasure Mountain Sports Complex and however you want to brand that, that's kind of what we've called it so far, but that is really a reinvention of that site. We're still anticipating that the existing Treasure Mountain would be demolished and make way for a lot of open space. And with that open space, the first phase of work would happen on the east side of the site, which would be the baseball and softball fields. As mentioned by Randy, those are turf surfaces, which allows you to play in all weather and all conditions. We've had a lot of conversations about where you push snow during the winter and kind of spring and shoulder seasons to allow for the athletes to play on those surfaces. The two fields in the middle are multi-use sports fields. Those could be used by your soccer team, by your lacrosse teams, by marching bands, if you ever pick up a marching band. Any of those events could happen on those fields and very similar. Those are turf surfaces, allowing for the most flexibility. On the extreme north of the site are two tennis complexes. I kind of pulled those apart just a touch to allow for the future, if you were ever to bring in a bubble or any sort of enclosure, you've got the ability to do kind of phases or increments over the top of those. We are planning on reworking the parking lot that currently surrounds Treasure Mountain Middle and adding additional kind of connection points to curbs. We're increasing the parking capacity slightly, just to allow for as many people on site as possible. The red spaces that you're seeing on the screen and probably on your computer are support buildings. Those are included in the middle that's being highlighted now, concessions and restrooms and press box space for all the fields. And then on the extreme north, there's additional team rooms and restrooms, officials' offices, and storage spaces. This one has remained, as I said, pretty close to what we've shown you in the master plan, but I'm happy to answer any questions, or Randy, if there's anything that we want to clarify on this one.
One major question, we talked about where you're gonna push the snow. Where are you gonna push the snow?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you're seeing in gray is pavement or concrete at the moment. We are gonna break it up with some landscaping that we're still refining. But as you look at areas, there's not only the parking lot on the north, there's little enclosure areas. But each of the baseball and softball fields would have the ability to push off to the sides, not only along foul lines, but then actually out of the dirt surface.
To the north, is that North 40?
It is North 40.
So
We
it
would-
goes all the way back up to that fence line?
Pretty much, there's that wood fence that surrounds the property, we're really holding true to that. And partly that's due to some restrictions, particularly on the east side as we get towards the creek.
Yeah, because of the wetlands.
Correct, yeah. And we are maintaining the pathway that goes to the North 40 on that area. The restrooms that are kind of located on the junction of that path would be demolished, as well as Treasure Mountain Middle School.
And the parking lot is falling over to that end, correct?
Correct, yep. Still maintaining the drop-off lane that you have currently for your preschool facility, yeah. Any other questions?
So we'll share, we'll go ahead.
I was gonna say, so there's one extra entrance exit onto Cairns.
Correct, yeah, and that's actually the existing fire lane, bus lane that is on the east side of the building. We're tying into that to provide kind of a slide route. Really, the main route is through that Comstock intersection. I know that the district is currently working on a traffic study, and that's part of the evaluation that could occur to make sure that's still.
Because that one has a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And how many parking spots?
We're floating around 225, 230. Your current site is 170 stalls. We're trying to pick up just as many as we possibly can.
And we assume those would be used by the high school, most of the time as well.
I'm sorry,
But that would just effectively be additional parking for the high school.
as well, yes, yeah. kinda like we
Assuming
do
they
now.
want to walk. It's a long walk.
Treasure Center, they sell.
Right,
spots.
Is that the district office, Matt Vader?
Yeah. There's a lot of things more. So really, this first phase of work that you're gonna see it all start, really is the summer is the two games, baseball and softball games on the existing. There is, yeah.
The soccer.
So they'll redo those.
Correct.
So that's the existing plan and the tennis, pickleball courts are part of the existing, or that's not?
This would all be part of the proposal for the work that would start in May, April, or excuse me, May, June.
This is all part of phase 1, phase 2.
This is part of the,
Yeah.
not approved by the last letter.
Correct. So the superintendent and I will have to switch offices so I can watch baseball and she can watch softball. We'll have to go from that. We are gonna have some discussion on the Treasure Mountain building. Possibly demoing that sooner than later, just honestly, it's gonna be demoed anyway, so as a budget savings, then I have to pour natural gas into there during the snow season. So we'll have a deep discussion on that and see what the likelihood of that could be. Say the district's thoughts. Yeah.
As we shift over to Dozier Field, a couple things to highlight that will be consistent on option 1 and option 2. There are plans to redo the entire track surface. That's a failing system right now. It's on asphalt. We're gonna pull all that out and put a post-tension track with the new surface over the top. Pretty much will be a high-performing track. We're also adding some additional runout areas. That way you can either run north-south or south-north, depending on the winds. The visitor bleachers will be relocated. The existing visitor bleachers will be pushed closer to the track. As part of the current work that's happening there, there's an abandonment of a sewer line that ran through that area. It's allowing us to pull everything back. And that's partly why those are so far away from the field currently. The new home bleachers, there's kind of a 2-stage process there. We're gonna look at both refurbish as an option and also replacement. And that really will just depend on where the budgets come in. That's always a tool that we use with bid alternates. You're seeing in gray a perimeter walkway pathway. That's to provide better game day management for the team at the high school. That would be isolated with a security fence from the track surface so that you're keeping spectators and players away from each other during game days. And also provide great access around the entire track. The new entrance pavilion piece, you're seeing on your bottom right-hand corner, would be a great gateway element. This also offers us some opportunities for storage, some concession space. Really that, as well as the north building, in red, are gonna be the two things that change in both of these schemes, and we'll talk about those in just a second. The other thing to highlight is here, we are still planning on a new bus lane, kind of fire lane between, the high school, as well as the existing track in Dozier Field. Part of the strategy right now is to level out some of the berm that happens between the parking lot and the field to open up visual corridors, as well as help keep those visitor bleachers a little bit tighter to the field. So between option 1 and option 2, really the difference is on those concessions and buildings. And you're seeing in this scheme, a very long and linear building on the north side. That was really one of our starting points. Long and linear is pretty efficient. And we started to realize that there were some challenges as we were approaching Lucky John. We have heard concerns with the neighborhood about the adjacency of the property or to the building. And wanting to be good neighbors, we looked at some alternative schemes. And so option 1 is kind of long and linear. What that means in this scenario is that would be a 1-story building to kind of tuck it into the hills just a touch more. It does make the entry building on the right-hand corner a little bit larger because we need to find different spaces for all the other support functions. So we pop to the next slide. Option 2 would be taking everything and pushing it to the north. And in doing that in more of a curvilinear building and tucking that just as close as we can get to the track surface. This pulls us off Lucky John Boulevard. And it also does, something kind of interesting is if we start to stack a two-story building, we're able to get a separation between the track surface, participants, locker rooms, and kind of the public functions that could happen on the second floor. Go ahead.
So is that more conducive to what the people on Lucky John have talked about?
Let me skip to a couple more slides and I can answer that, because I think in both scenarios, there's pros and cons about, that building. I will say that the two-story iteration has been the preference from the steering committee. And just because it consolidates a lot of the functions, we're not getting concessions in one area and students in another area. So sorry.
How does the height change?
Actually, let's go 3 slides ahead and we can talk about that. And then we'll cycle back to these plans if we need to.
This one?
Yeah, perfect. So from Lucky John to your track surface, Lucky John is actually about 3 to 4 feet lower already. And what's nice right now is there's actually some trees and vegetation between that and the field, roughly a 7-foot berm that occurs on that hillside right there to screen the neighborhood. Any structure in that space is gonna stick above what you have currently. And so on the bottom, you're seeing kind of the relative size and dimensions, some scale figures in the sketches of a single-story building. And then on the upper, you're seeing the option for a 2-story building. In both scenarios, what we're planning on is mitigating some of the visual presence from Lucky John with grade, with bringing in soil from different areas on site and vegetation to help screen the building. We're also proposing introducing a sloped roof to blend more with the residential neighborhood, nature of the neighborhood. If you remember, the 2-story iteration on the top has that curvilinear form that allows us to pull farther off of the street, which is a benefit because we have more grade to get away from Lucky John as well. We're also exploring within those considerations that, would you mind popping to the next slide up? And thanks for being so great. In the 2-story iteration, the idea of creating separation between those team spaces on the bottom of that page and more of the public spaces like the banquet rooms, coaches' offices, concessions on the upper level. From game day management, that's a great separation. We can picture as well in that north end zone that's a great place to kind of sit and grab a Coke and watch the game for a minute. If you go to the next slide, what we've actually started to consider is maybe there's a way to open up those and create some pavilion pieces so that it's not all 2 stories, maybe it's 2 stories in portions, but it makes sense, and creating a larger patio space. Again, looking at opportunities to enhance the game day experience, but also really blend with the residential neighborhood. And then if we highlight the last image one more time. Really, the height limitation based on Park City codes is 28 feet. We feel we can tuck under that. We're currently looking at structural systems that will allow us to squeeze our floor to floor. And we're shooting to be about 25 feet from the elevation of the crack. Again, the strategy is to mitigate that building mass with vegetation, landscape, and forming as far off the street as possible. With that, I can answer any questions you may have about Dozier in the field. Yeah.
This relates to the whole project. It seems like there's a lot of soil movement, scraping, adding more, are we gonna have any problems with soil mitigation or?
Well, it's much the same thing. It's about building up soil.
Right.
Areas around town.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking the spine senses.
Yeah, I totally understand. Any of the movement of soil would happen on site versus exporting off. We're looking closely with JD and his team. I know the district is contracted, R&R. And so they're very much at the table at the moment, talking about any sort of procedures that need to happen. Our goal is to balance the site from a grading perspective so that we're not taking anything off or bringing anything in. That's right now where we're at.
And I think if we could do most of this work when school isn't in place, that would also be another safeguard.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're mindful of that calendar.
Sure.
I'm trying to visualize right now where the field is? Are you going, this is going back towards Lucky John?
Correct, yeah, on the north
Is that
side.
where that road is right there?
There's no walkway
A
there.
walkway into. Currently, right now, it ends,
From the church parking lot.
yeah,
yeah, there is a connecting sidewalk between the church and
yeah,
the school, and that would generally be maintained still.
go to the left, what is that road? That's there.
That's the church there.
That's the church, and then next to that.
That's a sign.
That's still part of the church, it's one of their outbuildings.
What is the reason for keeping it in that north end of the site at all? Versus, you know,
Kind of anywhere else.
yeah, anywhere
Yeah,
else.
absolutely, absolutely. I would say the more we can get in a single building, the more efficient we are. And we have looked at a number of options that starts to pull out parts and pieces around the site. We did feel it was advantageous to have that entry pavilion piece, kind of the ceremonial entrance plaza space as you walk into Dozier. We also looked at studies whether the building could be tucked on the back side of the home bleachers or even underneath the home bleachers. Talking about soils, we would be then digging into the hillside more so. There's some cost implications associated with that. There's also some security issues.
Why you don't dig down to reduce the height as well.
Exactly, yeah, and we're really trying to maintain that track level as game day experience for the players. The visiting teams, home teams can go directly to those team rooms off of the track surface. At the end of the day, this felt like the right location, based on kind of game day experience, student safety, the separation between the public and the participants. And really anything else around the site, particularly on the south, was just not viable based on your property boundaries.
Yeah, no, I would thought it would have to be on the west side. What is the white perimeter around the track?
That's the blocking the track.
Correct, yeah, that's the 6 to 8 foot sidewalk that would be around the entire track surface.
So it'd be.
How does that work
It would be, yeah.
with the building?
So the second story, that walkway would actually go to a second level pavilion space. If you go back to the sections.
This part?
Yep, perfect. So you're seeing on that two-story iteration, there's a little scale figure, out on the second level plaza, that track or that walkway space would tie
Just
it
down
down.
up to that, and then on the lower one, just go in front of it.
Correct, yep.
That's cocky.
Architects have a funny way of driving people, so.
We need a decision on this today.
That would help our timing.
Speaking of, in some state.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you mind? Sorry. Having been at Dozier a lot and a parent working concessions, being there as a fan as well, that side by Lucky John is very dark right now. And a lot of kids are back there. Administrators could probably talk to this, but I don't think it's a very safe place. I've actually been asked to intervene on a bullying situation back there. So a building and limiting that space for the kids just to hang out, I'm a huge fan. So I know you might get some, I don't know, backlash from Lucky John, but I actually think you're doing the kids and this community and the high school a service by taking that super dark shaded area away from Dozier on a Friday night. I've seen too much back there that I think needs to go away, so.
Can I add to that? If you look at that area, you'll notice that every resident who actually has a view of Dozier has trees. They have area built up, so they don't even see, and what you're putting there is far more beautiful. In my eyes, more appealing than what is currently there, but they're already blocking themselves from too. So I hear there's pushback, but I actually think it could be more aesthetically pleasing.
And also that building is much smaller and less obtrusive than anything that exists presently and is being built in the current updates to the high school.
Right. Cost difference?
Fairly neutral. I would say that the single story option, if we start talking about more square footage in different locations, is a little bit of a premium. There's always an efficiency again if we can consolidate all the construction in one area. From an ease of construction as well, the north option is much better because we're not impacting your parking lot or anything associated with kind of the troubles you're having right now with construction. Yeah. I'd add one more advantage with a two-story iteration is you will get some sound mitigation on game days. That's actually bouncing back into the playing field versus going into that north neighborhood.
Two-story curb option. We are gonna hear from. Oh, we're gonna.
Did they not like these options?
They wanted the not to be on that north end.
They wanted
of the site, yeah.
But they really didn't want it.
Part of the feedback we've heard from that community in relation to the addition has been light bleed as well as kind of the visual aspects. And so I think landscaping and light mitigation strategies as well as respecting security and safety can all be balanced in that two-story iteration.
Yeah, nothing's changing in terms of entrance, exit from Lucky John, right? I mean, the gate that's there will stay there.
Correct.
For the primary ingress or
But
egress.
it's okay, they can only walk to, not park the car.
Correct, yeah, parking would still kind of reside either in the church property or on that south parking lot area.
I think that gate's used by emergency vehicles.
Yeah, it is.
Just for the reference, part of the reason we're looking at doing this at all right now is for the track and the turf coming to be replaced. So it makes sense to roll it onto the other.
Yeah.
The track's in the back.
That's all concession.
Probably what you need us to do.
So we just need a motion to move forward with that iteration or the other iteration, those are kind of the options. Or, you know, with the one story and the other areas by the ticket office, again, we've looked at bleachers, you see, it's expensive to put a building in bleachers. Or the iteration that has a rounded building with a two-story. So we
Does this
can move
impact the
forward.
projected cost we had initially?
No, I think the team's really aware of what the budget is set at and not concerned. I won't be concerned when we get bids, right? We don't have bids yet. But right now, we're not concerned. I think out of the options available, this will be the least expensive option out of those options.
This one, the two-story.
Yes. Yeah.
And there is no option for this side of the site, right? That is what it is.
The east side of the site.
No, well, I mean, the.
Our options for
baseball
treasure.
softball, Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, those buildings have kind of landed where they are based on the geography of needing.
So there's no decisions being made.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's really just.
So.
Yeah.
Is the baseball field that's currently there gonna stay there? And the
Yeah.
softball field?
It's gonna be tough.
No, the old ones.
The old ones will stay.
Yeah, so
The ones in the middle.
those are in the footprint for number 3, option 3.
But those will
And that's
still
not
be
being touched.
used By the teams if they want to.
Until the
Yes.
rest we do.
Yeah, unless phase 3 is approved, it will go to And I asked, full transparency, asked Scott and his team to give you 2 options instead of 10. We appreciate it. Yeah.
We do.
It sounds like the two-story.
Accepting the answer.
Yeah.
Justify the reason.
So you're saying by making it like the burn, that'll help the sound for those homes on Lucky John too?
Correct, yeah, that building will act as a little bit of protection from just the game-day noise that happens.
I hear it all over where I live. I'm a mile and a half away, which is fine, I like to hear it.
And then so it'll be landscaped onto it, so they won't see most of the back of the.
They won't see the back of it all.
Yeah, that's the.
And it's gotta help have a curve as well.
Yeah.
so the edges-
Will it help with the lights for those homes?
Less so, I mean, there will be some security lighting out in that.
In that area?
But, really, the lighting for the field itself was changed 5, 6 years ago at this point, and has been greatly improved over what it was. And we would be looking at a very similar situation at Treasure with lighting systems.
So security that they brought up there, if they do a curve, is there areas that are not well?
It'll almost be non-existent. Having been an administrator who has been at Friday night football games, it is pitch black in that area. This will push them to the other end where it is actually lighted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you go back to one of we had a few of the, yeah, this one. So on this one, we're saying that middle section would be lower, right?
That would be kind of a plaza space, and a one-story plaza
So
space.
that would be one, and then on the curved section, those would be
Those would be
higher.
like kind of two-story pavilion pieces. We're just barely getting into the architectural language, but we could imagine that there's some sort of cover or pergola over the top of that plaza space to make it really good sing.
I think I like that option,
What is above, what is in those ones that are?
Right now, they're programmed for banquet space, that can really be coaches' offices or team rooms, kind of gathering spaces for before and after games or events. It's kind of a flexible space that we haven't truly defined yet.
Currently, we don't have a banquet space. Many of our athletic teams, if they're not doing it in the commons at the high school, they're going offsite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to have that.
That's fine.
And then, but to the side, I can see the.
Sides on the left-hand side would be restroom facilities, for the old Dozier complex. And then on the right-hand side is concessions and support spaces. All the things that make the building go.
for those restroom facilities, big enough to support private land.
That's larger than you have currently. Code kind of dictates that we're kind of working on a sweet spot, and the restrooms are always the most expensive.
And with that other, will there still be another building for the south side?
There'll be a smaller building, kind of as a gateway entry piece.
Will there be restrooms?
So we're planning on a couple of that too, for visitors, and creates separation between visitor restrooms and.
Okay.
So this building.
Correct, yeah.
Can we see about these houses are actually impacting? Do we actually see the houses that were in?
Yeah, I would say you're 5 or 6 houses. What we for sure do is the design progresses, so views from those house superstructures, stepping on the property, but kind of being adjacent to what you're seeing.
If we can see and understand the impact of the
Sure.
If there's a legitimate.
That sounds like the two-story curve. Go for it, like that plan, can I get a motion?
I make the motion.
Who second? Sorry, I can't get it.
Yes, what to say?
Just, as my kids are collectively a part of 4 to 5 sports, and right now we're planning the baseball banquet, and everywhere we're looking is charging us $300 to $500 for just setup, much less the AV and all these extra fees. And so just the thought of having a space where we could go for free, starting off at 0 versus having to do yet another fundraiser, just to like feed our boys Cafe Rio, which I'm from Texas, that stuff's not good. My point is we're spending already so much money on top of so much money. I just had to throw in a that's just my 2 bits on.
I think having a banquet. I think
it's a good.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, that's it, second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, JD.
Okay, now, School fees.
Fees.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
So we've kind of thrown you a little bit of a curveball after the last meeting when we adopted the fees in the first reading. We had some others that came forward and said, oh, we need to address our fees. So tonight we have two different agenda items. The first one is the second reading for the fees you adopted last meeting, which included just a couple of changes. And then the supplemental, we're calling it, will be adopted on a first reading. Within, you know, the essence of time. If you've had a chance to read through the memo I provided, for those fees, and then I'll just, one other caveat. The state office has now changed their rule so that fees don't have to be approved by April first. Now it's July first, because there's legislation this year that affects fees, mostly co-curricular, which we already provide the funding for. But if, just give you a caveat, after we adopt these and the supplemental would have a second reading next month. If we had to make changes on that, we just bring it back to you and do that at that time. So rather than stop the whole process, we decided we'd be better off to finish the process, and then we need to make adjustments, we'll make adjustments. So we would need a motion for a second reading.
Sorry.
I make a motion to approve this.
Second.
So we did, so just to clarify, we need a second reading on one of them, we need a first reading on the other. It can be in the same motion. But just for
Whatever
the, so we know that's what the motion. With four people here.
Do you need another motion or have we covered it with the?
No, I think we're, if you're okay with that, we're,
I'm okay.
okay, all right, you okay there?
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Falling apart, the wheels are falling apart. Almost. Hang in there, folks. Okay, policies for posting, is that where
So they've been reviewed. All of us have been reviewed and are now before you guys to post.
we're?
Sorry, that was a typo in my.
Following policies for posting and are now before the board for adoption. Policy for 4010 travel and conference reimbursement, policy 4030 time and effort, policy 7075 12-month staff holidays, policy 10010 student enrollment, and policy 11000 family education rates and privacy.
I will make a motion to approve said policies.
A second.
Any discussion?
I'll just state that Carolyn and I did chat, we're gonna make that slight adjustment that Eileen pointed out, so that will be adjusted.
Yeah, I already made it. It will go to, policy committee next month.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have the following policies for discussion. The policies before the board are policy 1005, district vision, mission, core values, policy 2036, Board of Education code of conduct and code of ethics and code of conduct, and policy 2045, board member compensation and expenses.
I just have a question under the district vision, mission, core value. As we're going through the handbook, does this tie us up that we can't make any changes?
Well, so
I don't know.
let's make a motion, then we'll have the discussion, and then
Okay.
I have a couple of questions on this. So I make a motion please, just for discussion. Oh, just discussion. Okay, sorry. You absolutely. Yeah, so I think it makes sense to hold off on 1005 since we're talking about having a retreat, and I think it makes sense to hold off on 2036 as well.
0203, yeah.
And then there was another one, was it 2005 that we were
Right.
looking at, that isn't on here, and I think all of those make sense to include in a retreat. 2045 was not one that I had looked at. I mean, I have a couple of questions about it, but I think it makes sense to just leave that into the discussion on all of the others that we're looking at. Rather than take everyone's time on that. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to get into my feelings on some of those comments, but we're planning a retreat room, and it's not really here until like.
No, that's not.
I'll kick you in the shins.
Okay.
So they need to do.
Oh, after.
Posting.
So we're gonna save these items for
We
discussion.
can add to the board retreat when we get that scheduled,
Yes,
that'll
yeah.
just be part of
With
the
the other
agenda.
ones too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's part of the board handbook as well, so you can make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk quickly about what we're going to schedule that board retreat? When we have everyone together to talk about. So we can stay back before. Sorry to be the one that's keeping us.
Let's start the kicking.
I was gonna say September. Kathleen remembers what it's like in the springtime.
Nice. Cause your budgets take a lot of time. April and May are just nightmare for you guys.
How long are we thinking of doing, having half a day, a full day?
I would plan for a whole day and hope that we get out early. Based on the last one.
Hope for the best, and hope for the worst.
So what works best, Randy, for you and Lindsay with the budget and stuff? In June, still busy? You have to
No,
get.
I think you just schedule it when you wanna schedule it. We'll make it work.
Yeah,
So,
we
yeah,
can move
we'll-
some days around.
How is April 2nd for everyone? Because that's my
April
calendar that
2nd?
day and most other days.
Not do it. Sorry.
How about April 3rd?
I'm pulling up my schedule now. Hold on.
Yeah, yes.
April 3rd is
Oh.
SBA.
We're gonna play jet plane.
I'm not on a plane tonight.
The week of 14th is probably not good.
That's spring break.
It's the break.
We're on.
April 7th.
That works, or that looks fine tonight.
Is everyone back from SBO?
We're coming back Sunday night. What do you think about that? Sunday night too.
I think I'm back Monday, actually.
You're coming back Monday?
I think so. I'll have to check my flight.
Okay, so maybe Wednesday night? Does that work?
I will be leaving for superintendent's meeting in St. George.
Okay.
I assume that means you can't do the 10th, huh?
Down there 9th through the 11th. Brandy is with me, so invited BAs this year.
And the following week is spring break.
Yeah.
Yes.
23rd?
20 on the 23rd.
Hello.
Did you guys hear Eileen? She said the 23rd.
23rd,
24th is better for me.
24th.
We was gonna do a getaway that week, but I can change it.
I can move things around and make the 24th work.
24th, I can.
Or the 28th, does the 28th work?
28th works for me.
It's fine.
Do the 28th.
It's 28th easier.
I'd rather not do a Monday.
Can I do the 28th?
Eileen said she'd rather not do a Monday.
Okay.
Yeah. that's-
29th.
29th.
29th, what about Tuesday, Eileen?
That was graduation.
Yes.
Oh, it's your daughter's graduation?
UVU, yeah.
On the 29th, so that's like.
The
I
30th?
don't know if they'd be present when you're discussing policies. So,
Are you sure?
yeah,
May
I'm pretty
6th,
sure.
Tuesday, May 6th.
I could do the 30th.
I will be out of town.
It gives you guys a lot of time to work on the handbook.
Yeah, we gotta get the handbook done.
Yeah.
So how about like May 9th or May 8th?
Did we decide there was no other date we could do the week?
What if we had, what about when we send out a doodle poll?
Yeah, that's a good idea. April doesn't.
We might be here till midnight trying to.
Yeah.
It was worth a try.
Okay, we'll send out a doodle poll.
It's a good idea. Sounds like we're into May.
Yeah, May is tough, graduation and all that. Well, we'll just.
We start at the end of April.
Not the beginning.
Fair enough, you wanna make a motion?
Oh, yes.
I make a motion to adjourn until our next regular.
Yeah.
April 8th.
April 8th.
Yeah.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
It's not like-